everybody, Crafting Journey here, that Journey Chick on Instagram. Welcome to another edition of Crafting and Crime Daily. So excited. There is a new trial starting today, the trial of Catherine Magbanua, but I'm going to tell you that it's in jury selection, so really nothing to cover today or tomorrow, but I have a crime story for you that's full of passion, revenge, jealousy, love triangle, pregnancy. Oh my gosh, just you name it. We're going to throw the book at this one. And murder, of course. Murder. Anyway, let me tell you about yesterday, because we got to chit chat for a little bit here. First of all, my grandson's graduation. I'm just thinking to myself as I'm watching this event that, it hasn't changed in how many years? Like, who came up with this? Let's sit in a stadium in uncomfortable bleachers while several hundred kids sit out on a hot football field to, first they've got to march into, 20 minutes of pomp and circumstance. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Yeah. And it hasn't changed. We give speeches that nobody really wants to hear because nobody knows what they're talking about except for the kids. The kids they all know what they're talking about. Yeah. So I went and sat in the bleachers. Well, first of all, so my son says, I'll go and I'll get us a seat. And then he said, you go take Malia and pick up her friend. So I'm like, oh, no problem. So by the time I go get her friend and get back, all the parking spaces are gone. Now, my son has saved fabulous seats, so I don't have to climb too high into the bleachers, like 5 seats up. Not a problem. But I had to park down in the lower 40. Oh, my God. Yeah, far away. Like, we're talking shopping mall, far away, that kind of type, far away. So I'm just trying to get my leg adjusted. Oh, God, I'm so sore after yesterday. Honest to God. So, yeah, so we go to this. So I walk to the stadium and I get up to my seat and, the whole thing. It was lovely. It was a beautiful ceremony. And, but it's, I could show my, anyway, it's all the same. It never changes. Like, somebody needs to change this thing up. Do something different. Make it fresh and, I don't know. That's just me. It's got to be a better way to have a graduation. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. So, but anyway, so after the graduation, I don't know, a couple of times I had to get up because I just could not sit there. Like, I told my son, I cannot sit here any longer because my knee was hurting so bad. Because, you have like 2 positions here and here. You can't stretch your leg, Oh, that even hurt. Ow. And my hip, I don't know why my hip's been hurting, but anyways, my hip was like on fire. My knee was on fire. I'm like, I got to get up. I'm just going to go walk around. And it was a nice cool day, not cool, but like 80, comfortable, beautiful day, 80 degrees, gorgeous day. So I just kind of walked around, as I'm listening to the speeches. And so I did this a couple times. So that it worked, but then on the way, how everybody goes out in the field. They want to get pictures with their kids. And I'm going to show you a picture here. God, I'm so fat, but you just ignore that. Anyway, my grandson, he's so cute. But I go out in the field and I didn't realize that there's like this video cord. And of course, I trip over it. Now, I didn't fall, but tripping, like, it twisted my knee. And I was like, the pain was incredible. And my son kind of catches me and he's like, well, thank God you didn't fall. I'm like, yeah, thank God. So after that, they're like, oh, we're going to go out for dinner. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go home and ice my knee. Sorry, I've had enough. And I went home and took some pain medication, iced my knee, had dinner, fell sound asleep. Yeah. Anyway, that was, oh, but on the way home, I know, crazy. So I was out, near this, at my son's house in Andover where the tornado hit a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, I want to go see what the damage was. So I go, it wasn't far off the track to get home. It was on the way home. So I get out there and I'm like looking at the YMCA because that's where supposedly it hit, and I could see some roof damage and stuff like that. But then I look, that was on the left side of the road. So I look on the right side of the road and I see all these trees down, and I'm like, oh my God. And I look beyond the trees and I see what used to be houses. I'm like, oh, what? So then I drive around. They didn't have the neighborhood like cordoned off. I thought they would, but they didn't. So I drive in and it's just like this one part of a street. It's a whole neighborhood. Beautiful, beautiful homes, beautiful homes. But it only affected like this one block. So just this one block, like literally like maybe 6 houses, 8 houses on one side, 8 houses on the other. And then after that, you're back to beautiful homes because apparently it went past those homes and over to the Y. But I'll put some pictures up here, but like just crazy. Like you can see that, like there's just doors left, doorways. And you can see like they were not built out of the best material in the world. So there was one where like it's just the door frame left. Like some were just complete slabs. There's one where you can see the bathroom vanity. Yeah, like it's crazy. There's one where it's just the kitchen appliances are there. And there's my grandson graduating. Yeah, I'll put this video in because he's so cute.
Kyle James Lumba.
Yes, Kyle!
That's my grandson, Kyle Lumba. He never changed his last name. My son adopted him, but they didn't change his last name. I don't know why. So when my son married his second wife, she had Kyle already, so he became part of our family. And yeah, so that was my day yesterday. And then my daughter had mailed my Mother's Day present to my son's house because dummy me, dyslexic, gave her the wrong address. Anyway, I'm looking, I'm like, is that a diamond painting? Diamond painting? And yes, it is. So I'm going to show you. My daughter got me a diamond painting. It is adorable. So I'm going to read it to you. Here it is. Look. How cute is that? So here's what it says. To my mom, maybe I don't tell you this often enough, but I really love you. You are such an important person in my life, and I appreciate all that you do for me. Thanks for all the sacrifices you've made. It doesn't matter how far I go in life, I will always be your little girl, and you will always be my loving mother. Love, your daughter. I love you. So it's a partial, just... It's so cute. So it has some crystals. So I thought I'd lay this out. Made in China by Linko. It's a 30 by 40. I'll show it to you again. How cute. So, and I was thinking, why didn't she just do it, frame it, and send it to me? Oh, too cute. Too cute. My daughter. Not a diamond painter. So I'm going to work on this for a little bit here. While I chit chat. So it comes with, just the regular boat, green boat, which I'm going to start using those green boats with my painting. So I thought I'd work on this today while we chit chat. Today is National Love a Tree Day, like tree hugging. National Love a Tree Day celebrates the joys of life provided by trees. Reading in the shade or taking a bite out of a fresh fruit pie are but two examples. Of course, planting trees for future generations to love is beneficial too. Most species of trees tend to be long-lived. Some trees live to be thousands of years old. So currently there's about 766 million acres of forest in this country. But between 1630 and 1910, there was a steady decline. There originally was about 1,023 million acres. It declined to 754 million acres. That's a 46 to 34% of the total land area of the United States. So how trees are utilized and managed has changed over the last 400 years. Where people live and how we farm has also changed. While some urban forests increase, other areas see a decline. Tree planting programs improve landscapes, but human activities and population growth continue to impact ecosystem. So can you guess? I'm going to take a minute here. Pause the video. Tell me what you think. And don't cheat. Don't look it up. What's the tallest tree? What do you think is the tallest tree known? Okay. Now that you're back, now that you've put it in the comment, 379 feet. Yeah. Trees provide more than just beautiful landscapes and shady canopy on a sunny day. They play a significant role in reducing erosion and moderating the climate as well as giving us oxygen. They absorb the carbon dioxide so that we have more oxygen. And they provide habitat and structure for strong ecosystems. They're a vital part of nature. So this is a good day to plant a new tree or spend some time enjoying the beauty of trees that are all around you. Time to learn how to care for the trees you have too. Share photos of your favorite tree or videos of you planting a tree using hashtag #LoveATreeDay to post on social media. So I'm not going to go planting a tree today. I need to rest, but I need to get my trees trimmed in the backyard. I rent here, and getting the landlord here to do anything is like pulling teeth. There we go. We're going to put the light pad on. This is super cute. Oh my word. Today we're going to go to a little town called Greeley, Colorado. About a population about 100,000. So a pretty small town. Everybody knows everybody, you know. And we're going to talk about a murder that happened on January 23rd, 2007. On this night, the employees from Colorado State Bank and Credit Union were leaving work. It's a cool night. It gets very cold in Colorado. Wasn't snowing or anything, clear night. So they could see pretty well. People are all leaving. They come out and they see this dark figure approaching. And the figure was wearing this like Halloween type robe with a hood and a mask. And the figure approaches Heather Garrous and says, "You've ruined my life. Get down." So she gets on her knees, and the person proceeds to shoot her twice in the head and then flees. So several of the witnesses have different things to say. All of them seem to kind of agree that they thought it was a woman. Her voice seemed like it was a woman, like trying to disguise herself as a man. She kind of walked like and ran like a woman. So, one person said they saw hair sticking out of the mask, but it wasn't blonde hair, which is important coming, later on. One witness followed her, or followed the assailant, and the assailant gets into a green pickup truck and takes off. And he describes the pickup truck pretty well. He didn't get a license plate, but he describes his pickup truck pretty well. That's the same witness said when the vehicle only had one taillight. That's pretty telling. Okay. So the victim, Heather Garrous, they, immediately 911 is called. There's 2 phone calls to 911. The first one says there's been a shooting. They give the location. The second one says, there's been a shooting. It's Heather Garrous. Now, the reason this is significant is because Heather Garrous was married to Ignacio Garrous, who was a police officer on the Greeley Police Department. He hears the call, and he's like, my wife's been shot. So he rushes to the scene, but of course she's already passed away. So when they figure out, now, like I said, this is a small town. So when they figure out that this is a green pickup truck and that it's Heather Garrous, they immediately suspect Shawna Nelson. Now, why do they suspect Shawna Nelson? Because Shawna Nelson was having an affair with Heather Garrous's husband. Had been for like 3 years. This happened in 2007. They started having an affair in 2003. And it was pretty well known in the community that they were having an affair. And that Shawna Nelson's husband had a green pickup truck that matched this description. Now, Shawna Nelson's husband is also a police officer. He's a sheriff, and he heard this call as well. And then he hears that his wife is a suspect and that she's possibly driving this green truck. So he heads towards their house to see, to check on her. And on the way, he sees her driving this green pickup truck. So he pulls her over in the middle of the road, tells her to get out of the vehicle. Now, an eyewitness sees her, Shawna Nelson, pass him something, which later on the prosecution surmises to be the weapon that was used, because the weapon was never found. So he pulls her over and he's like, "What have you done?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" So she claims that she had left her 3 children at home in the basement because she was getting ready to take a bath, and she decided she wanted a bottle of wine, and the liquor store was right down the street. She would only be gone for a few minutes, so she leaves the kids to go to the liquor store to get a bottle of wine. Now, I don't know, I guess she didn't get to the liquor store because there was no bottle of wine anywhere. So the truck is taken into custody. She's taken in for interrogation. She has no shoes on. They take her clothes so they can test it for gunshot residue, which does come back positive for gunshot residue. She had it on her clothing. But her husband was a weapons trainer, and this was his truck that she was driving, which she didn't like to drive, but she was driving it on this night. So they said that, her defense was that, the gunshot residue could have come as a transfer from the truck to her clothing because, he's an instructor. They also found in the truck, in the back, hidden underneath the bench seat, a Halloween costume, black robe with a red trim and a black mask. And she's like, "Yeah, I bought that for Halloween. I forgot. I don't know why it was in the car. It's there." They also found 40 caliber gun shells in the car, which is what was used to kill Heather Garrous, a 40 caliber gun. So they take her in for interrogation, and she tells everything that I just said. She was, out to go to the liquor store. And when they tell her that the murder victim was Heather, she seems completely shocked. Like there's this visible sigh on the interrogation tape. She's like, like she's shocked. No, I guess that could have been faked. I don't know. So completely denies everything. They give her a pair of, flip-flops to wear because, like I said, she had no shoes. So a later search of the area where her husband pulled her over, stopped her, about 10 feet off the side of the road, they find a pair of men's size 10 shoe. And it meets the description. One of the witnesses says the shooter was wearing dark shoes that had a white rim on the bottom, and these shoes that were found matched that perfectly. And like I said, she had no shoes on when they took her in for interrogation. So she wears a size 8. These shoes were a size 10. So she's like, they couldn't possibly be my shoes. So generally, in men and women's shoes are not equivalent. Like if you were going to go buy a pair of men's shoes, you would want to go down about a size and a half. So if she was a size 8, she would want to go down to maybe a 6.5 men's. And these were a size 10 men's, so way too large. And there was snow on the ground, like packed snow. It wasn't snowing at the time, but there was snow on the ground. Hard packed. So they said it would have been very difficult for her to run in these shoes that were clearly too big for her. The shoes tested positive for her DNA. So let me tell you a little bit about the background here. So Shawna Nelson worked as a dispatcher for the Greeley Police Department. She was married. Like I said, her husband was a sheriff. They had 2 children. And Ignacio, he and his wife, Heather, had 1 daughter. At the time of the shooting, I believe she was 11 years old. She actually later passed away in a car accident in 2014, so she would have been late teens when she passed away. But nevertheless, so he worked, so he would come into the dispatch and they would flirt, and, they were both, woe is me about each other's spouses. And so they eventually started having an affair. And this was back in 2003. So this went on for years. So she gets pregnant. And she calls him up and she's like, hey, I'm pregnant. And apparently he didn't take it very well, and convinces her to get an abortion. So she gets an abortion. So later on she gets pregnant again. I'm like, dear God, honey, we know what causes that. Are you doing this on purpose? I don't know. So she gets pregnant again. Now, by this time, Shawna kept a diary of her affair. And she accidentally leaves it on the kitchen counter. And her husband starts reading it. So he leaves her. They split up. He's like, no, I'm out of here. So he leaves her with the 2 kids. She gets pregnant with Ignacio's baby again. So she tells Ignacio, and she's like, no, I'm not getting an abortion. I'm going to have this baby. So she tells this all to her husband, and he says, you know what? I'm going to come back. We're going to make this work. I'm going to, I'll adopt the baby. I'll put my name on the birth certificate. We'll raise him or her. So she's like, okay. So he comes back. So meanwhile, she's kind of stalking Heather, Ignacio's wife. Every time she sees Heather around town, she's like, calling her names like hag, and, just doing really, and Heather has no idea why this woman is acting this way towards her. She has no clue about this affair. And Shawna keeps threatening that she's going to tell his wife. So eventually he just comes clean with his wife, and he tells her, because of this pregnancy, he's got to tell her. So she leaves him, but she comes back like a day later. She's like, you know what? We're going to make this work, for better, for worse. So they start living together. But her demands are that you must have no more contact with this woman. You must break it off and have no more contact with this woman. So he does. So, of course, Shawna does not take this very well. She's pregnant with his kid. She starts sending these crazy text messages anywhere, anytime, bitch. I'm going to show you 4 of the different text messages that she sends. Just, crazy. And Ignacio testifies that she was stalking him, and she's like, oh, he's a liar. And I watched an interview that she did with Paula Zahn, and she is like, I didn't do it. Like, during this whole interview, she's so calm and collected, and just like no tells that she really did do this. Like, you would come away thinking, oh my gosh, she's innocent. But the Halloween robe, the bullet calibers, the shoes, the gunshot residue on her clothing, and she does say during some of these text messages, watch out anywhere, anytime. But the plot thickens. So, as a dispatcher, Shawna makes friends with Michelle Moore, who's also a police officer in Greeley. And they become fast friends. They're always chit-chatting. And so the police interview Michelle Moore, and Michelle says, yeah, we were friends, and she's sticking up for her friend, but she keeps changing her story. Every time they interview her, she changes her story, till finally she admits that she helped her plan this murder. She said that they were having a sexual affair, and that she helped Shawna plan the murder. She would tell her, what to do to prevent leaving fingerprints, what to do with the gun, all kinds of things like that. So they charge Michelle Moore with accessory to commit murder. And but they offer her a deal in exchange for her testimony. She's like, sure, I'll take the deal. So she testifies against her ex-lover, Shawna Nelson, saying, that they planned this thing together, and it was actually supposed to occur on a different night. And what she had said was that Shawna said, I will text you. And when I text you that I'm getting ready to take a hot bath, you'll know that that's when I'm going to do this, and then you can come over and take care of the kids. So she drives by Heather Garrous's workplace, the credit union, that night, and lo and behold, her car's not there. She wasn't on duty that night. So it didn't go through that night. So it goes through another night. And apparently Shawna says that, Michelle is just bitter because she broke it off with her, and that she bought the same exact costume, and she's framing her, that she's actually the one that committed the murder. Yeah. So this thing goes to trial, and during the trial, Shawna takes the stand and testifies on her own behalf, and she is cool as a cucumber. Pretty much the same as that interview with Paula Zahn. Just cool as a cucumber. I didn't do it. I was shocked by this, yeah. So, she had, for every piece of evidence, every witness, she had a justification. She had evidence, apparently, that it wasn't her, like that her ex-lover had bought the same Halloween costume. So, but instead of putting on this evidence, her public defender attorney rests the case after her testimony. And she's like, what? So she was pretty upset about that. And of course, she appealed for ineffective assistance of counsel, and that appeal is still pending. But this goes to the jury. The jury deliberates for 5 hours, comes back, and they find her guilty. So, Ken Nelson, her husband, was originally charged for taking the gun, but they really couldn't prove it, so they had to drop the charges. And he eventually resigns from the sheriff's office, and he is raising his 3 kids, including Ignacio's son. Yeah, and like I said, Ignacio, he also resigned from his police officer position, and was raising their daughter until she passed away in a car accident. So, that is the story for today. A love triangle that went terribly wrong. So, let's talk about this day in history. On this day in history, we have the first Academy Awards ceremony. Woohoo! In 1929, the Academy of Motion Arts and Sciences hands out its first awards at a dinner party with 250 people in attendance at the Blossom Room of the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, California. This was the brainchild of Louis Mayer, head of the powerful MGM Film Studio. The Academy was organized in May 1927 as a nonprofit organization dedicated to the advancement and improvement of the film industry. Its first president and the host of the May 1929 ceremony was the actor Douglas Fairbanks Sr. Unlike today, the winners of the first Oscars, as the coveted gold-plated statuettes later became known, were announced before the awards ceremony itself. At the time of the first Oscar ceremony, sound had just been introduced into film. The Warner Brothers movie, The Jazz Singer, one of the first talkies, was not allowed to compete for Best Picture because the Academy decided it was unfair to let movies with sound compete against silent films. Okay, the first official Best Picture winner was Wings, directed by William Wellman, the most expensive movie of its time with a budget of $2 million in 1929. Oh my God. The movie told the story of 2 World War I pilots who fall for the same woman. Another film, F.W. Murrow's Epic Sunrise, was considered a dual winner for the best film of the year. German actor Emil Jannings won the Best Actor honor for his roles in The Last Command and The Way of All Flesh, while 22-year-old Janet Gaynor was the only female winner. After receiving 3 out of the 5 Best Actress nods, she won for all 3 roles in Seventh Heaven, Street Angel, and Sunrise. A special honorary award was given to Charlie Chaplin. Originally a nominee for Best Actor, Best Writer, and Best Comedy Director for The Circus, Chaplin was removed from these categories so he could receive the special award, a change that some attributed to his unpopularity in Hollywood. It was the last Oscar the Hollywood Maverick would receive until another honorary award in 1971. So, a lot of, I think of it as being known for his outrageous evening wear. I just tune in to see what are people wearing. I don't care who wins, because most of those pictures I haven't even seen. Like, they all come out like later in the year, and then so most people really haven't seen them. And then the awards are given in like January, February, something like that, and then after that, everybody goes and sees them, I don't know. I'm just rarely familiar with some of those films. Maybe they're just not. Well, first of all, I don't go to the movies anymore. Let's start there. I don't go to the movies anymore. It's too daggum expensive. Yes. So, I just wait till it streams on the internet. Yeah. Okay, guys. That is the show for today. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please, if you did, don't forget to hit the like button. Today, he is going to drive me to the pharmacy to get my medication. Yep. Because I don't feel like driving myself. And then maybe we'll stop at the Nifty Nut House candy store. Anyway, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And if you are already subscribed, please consider becoming a member. Also, don't forget you can donate. Also, don't forget you can make a one-time donation to the channel through that thanks button down below. See where the like, dislike button is? Follow that all the way across. There's a thanks button. You can make a one-time donation that goes to support the content of the channel and is deeply appreciated. Yeah, because I am so into watercolor. I forgot I got watercolor stuff to show you. I'll show it to you tomorrow. Yeah, I'll keep it a secret one more day. Anyway, guys, have a great day. I will see you tomorrow on Crafting Crime Daily. Take care. Bye.